I'm Diane Rosagnola with NAREIT. In conjunction with NAREIT's REIT Week, I'm here today with Jeff Horowitz, Global Head of Real Estate, Gaming, and Lodging Investment Banking at BofA Securities. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm great, Diane. Nice to see you on a nice Zoom video.
How well do you believe REITs are set up to weather the current crisis?
I think this is a crisis like we've never seen before. Let's just start with that. And I think the reality is we've never seen a time where businesses just closed and rents weren't paid. And so I think that the real question, how we ultimately weather it, is going to be what the duration of this is. Now, no matter what, some companies are going to weather it just fine. Their business plays into it well. We're seeing companies in the data center space, lab space, industrial, towers, et cetera, do quite well. And other businesses are going to be more challenged. I will say that when we first started getting our own selves organized at the beginning of this, the first thing we looked at was the balance sheets of REITs. And given the low interest rate environment we've had for a while, most REITs took out most of their maturities. So very few REITs have a maturity issue, which I think has been a very big difference from before. Some will have a liquidity issue based on the duration of this. And you can figure out the sectors, a lot of leisure sectors, for example.
Reflecting on the past 8 weeks, what jumps out at you as the biggest lesson learned across the REIT industry?
It's a good question, Diane, but I think that the first thing that, I'd say is no one did anything wrong, right? I mean, this is something that hit all of us, whether it's any person any business you've seen, and people didn't do anything wrong, just happened. And so I think I'd start with that. But the reality is it shows that, the balance sheet strength matters. You have to have a balance sheet that's prepared to run a business in various cycles. And in certain sectors in particular, you have to keep your leverage very low. I think the other thing is important is relationships matter. Relationships with your tenants, your constituencies, your employees, how you communicate with them, your bankers, everybody really matters in times when people need each other. Things that people never imagined could happen did happen and are happening. And you need contingency plans. I mean, the world was built for interaction. We wanted people to communicate with each other. We wanted global supply chains. And all of those things have been turned on their head right now. And so I think that the world of just-in-time everything may not be that way for the future. And that's something that we're going to learn. I think that we're also seeing that, people are not going to do certain things unless they feel safe. And so people have to remember that whatever their environment is, whether it's an office company, retail company, hotel company, they have to figure out ways to make sure people feel safe, secure in whatever they're doing. And you're seeing investors in this environment take some very direct paths, which means that, they're moving into trades that they feel safe in also. So we're seeing very crowded trades. You're seeing some sectors really perform quite well because people feel that they'll perform well in this market, and people are running from other sectors right now. If money were more long-term in nature, you might see some of the opposite happen.
And lastly, how will the pandemic change the use of real estate for REITs?
Yeah, I think, again, that gets a little bit to the duration point I made before, because I think human behavior will change the longer some things play out. If this plays out for a long time, you may not be at the next NAREIT conference. We may be doing a video like this as an example. But every space is really impacted. So if it's office space, how do people, sit next to each other? How do people get in and out of the building? How do people go have lunch? If it's retail, same thing. Whether it's curbside pickup, being able to get into the assets very quickly, all those things will matter. Hotels, how do I check who's coming into my hotel? Restaurants, same thing. So I think no one really is immune from this. So I think real estate is going to be rethought in many different ways. And some of the things that have been very important to us, and we've seen trends in the last years, like an influx into cities. Well, maybe we're going to see some more influx into suburbs. We've been very focused on public transportation to get places. Maybe we won't be so focused on public transportation. How people are educated could be changing. How we communicate with each other could be changing. All of these things are going to impact, ultimately, the decisions people make for their real estate needs, what kind of space they want, how many people they have in it, where their people are, how you shop, and how you live. And so I think, again, nothing is really immune, and everyone has to rethink stuff the more things that go on, the longer the time that goes on.
Jeff, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
For more from NAREIT's REIT Week, visit REIT.com.